Here in video 8 of our home mortgage, we will complete the mortgage table for 30 years. And what we have to accomplish here is to make sure that all of our formulas that we created back in video 7 can be accurately copied throughout the table. And so to do that, we need to adjust some of the cell references, and we need to go from what we call a relative reference to an absolute reference. We'll start right here with the payment amount. We want to copy this particular formula, which was simply equals B7, the result of our payment function that we created back in video 6, I believe. Because the situation right now is, if we try to copy this using our copy or fill handle, we can see we end up with some interesting results here. Notice that it copied to cell E11 a blank, and then all of a sudden we have copied period, and then a 1 and a 2. And what's happened here is that it copied this information right here. Now, why did it do that? It did that because of something called a relative cell reference. For example, this particular formula equals B7 in computer talk, or as far as Google Sheets or Excel is concerned. The relative reference is this. If it says equals B7, the computer is thinking, well, let's go up 1, 2 cells, 3 cells, and then over 1, 2, 3, and copy the results. And so if you take that same formula and copy it here, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to go up 3 and over 3, and nothing is there. Same thing here. The reason why period is copied is because that formula that's sitting in there is equals B9. It's going 1, 2, 3, and then over 3. So what we have to do then is use something called an absolute cell reference, which will lock in this location B7, meaning that every time we copy this formula, we always want it to go to whatever the contents of cell B7 is. And so it's real simple to change that. So what we can do is this. Double click it, and you can either edit here on the formula bar or right here within the cell. And the only thing we have to change is go ahead and put in a $sign in front of each of these cell locations. So it'll be $B and $7. So now when we copy it, it'll always put in whatever the contents is of that location. So now you can go ahead and take that, copy that all the way down for 360 payment periods. Let's take a look at interest amount. If we try to copy interest amount, we end up with some interesting situations there for the same reason. So what we need to do is make sure that we have the correct absolute cell references so that we obtain the calculation we desire. So right now we're looking at take the contents of whatever is 2 cells to the left, which is D10. That is okay. We always want it to refer to the new current balance. However, when it comes time to calculate the interest rate, we need to make sure that this B5 location is always going to the interest rate here at that location. So once again, we've got to put in those $signs. Now that formula can accurately be copied for all of the periods. The reason it's 0 is because there's nothing there yet. But that will change once we copy all of these formulas down for all 360 periods. Principal payment. That will be okay as a relative reference because we always want it to go 1, 2 to the left, and then subtract 1 cell to the left. So that one can be copied accurately, no problem. The ending balance, same thing, can remain a relative reference because in every situation we always want it to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left and subtract 1 to the left to give us our answer. So we can copy those all the way down for 360 periods. And then the last one here that we completed in the previous video is that we simply need it to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right and 1 up, and always do it that way, so that one can remain a relative cell reference. So now we should be able to accurately copy those formulas all the way down. And I'll just take it down here for 20 periods, and then you can go ahead and do the rest of those. Now, it didn't do anything because there's 0 there at this point, but as we go ahead and complete these all the way down, it should start to fill in each of those values. And there it is. Table's complete. Once you take all of these down to 360 periods, have me take a look at that, and that will conclude video 8 of completing the table for compound interest home mortgage. In the next video, we'll talk about and analyze what is happening as far as the interest amount and principal payments, and how all of this relates to paying off a home loan.